Geno, is this kind of what you expected from Caitlin when you brought her here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've seen her do some great stuff over the years, even in this building when they played us when she was at Princeton. So there's no question in my mind that, you know, what she's capable of doing. Tonight was an example of it. It's, you know, it's not easy coming in and trying to fit with a group like this. I think she had, somewhere along the line, I think she had a little too much respect for our guys. You know, she just constantly kept saying, you know, I'm with all these really good players. I'm like, where? You know, like she just, like, just play. Like, you're here, you're on the team, don't worry about it. And I think that's, she's worked through all that, I hope. And seeing the ball go in today, that was just great. That was great. I told her I couldn't wait for January to end because she's 0 for January. I don't think she had made a three in the month of January. So, but she's a Princeton kid. She said there's still a lot of time left in January. And she was right. Today she was really, really good. In a lot of ways, really good.
Any other questions?
That's it?
Did you notice you guys are shooting 70% through 3 quarters before you start into the bench? What did you like the most about what you guys were doing out there?
I said to the team after the game, I don't necessarily evaluate a game based on what the final score was. You know, for me, it's what kind of decisions did we make during the course of the game, and you know, we scored a lot of points because the ball went in, and the ball went in because we made good decisions with the ball, where it was going, who was shooting it, you know, and we made great decisions defensively and how we were guarding them, and so by the decisions that we make, that leads to open shots, and then whether they go in or don't go in, you have no control over that, but being able to get those shots. And I like the fact that we went in at halftime and I asked our coach, I said, was there a shot that was a bad shot that you would say, you know, that's a bad shot? And I don't think there was one. So we're making a lot of great decisions right now, and you know, that's going to pay off.
14 points in the first quarter for Paige today. I mean, just talk about her attacking the game more this year and not letting it come to her as much. I mean, how have you seen her kind of translate that, especially these last couple, and what does that do for the rest of the guys?
I think I've said this. You know, there's a way that Paige manages a game that it feels like she has complete control of the game and that she can do whatever she wants. You know, would she have 9 assists today or something like that? To go with those points, and that's for the kids on our team. If we don't have that, if she's not in the game, that's fine. If we don't have that, but when she's in the game and everybody's looking at her and everybody's waiting to see, you know, what she's going to do, then for her to go off like she did today, it's infectious. You know, everybody catches it and it starts to, you know, feed on itself, and she has that that effect. So I'm really I'm really excited about where she is right now. They told me I took her out before her triple double. I said I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Can I give her a call?
I should, but I don't.
Before you said it earlier, do you like the balance we're seeing between Paige and Caitlin in terms of who's bringing up the ball and who's directing the offense?
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I do believe though that when Paige is coming down the middle of the floor, and we're able to get some ball screens for her in the middle, I think that creates a lot of, especially when it's her and Sarah together, it creates a lot of problems for the defense. And for Caitlin, it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but and then you throw KK in the mix, and it's an even different dynamic there. I like the fact that teams are seeing a lot of different ways that we're attacking them, as opposed to everything's the same all the time.
Coach, they started off with the opening bucket. You guys responded with a 12-point run. How important is it for you guys to start off hot the way you guys did tonight?
That's the whole point. I'm auditioning for somebody to jump center on Saturday against Creighton. We need, at some point, I think we've gotten one tap this year, and I would love to get the ball first and score first. I mean, I think anytime you can start the game with a bucket, but as aggressive as we were those first 3 or 4 minutes of that first quarter, when you play in Villanova, because they're so disciplined and they run their stuff and they keep you on defense a long time, you've got to score, and you've got to score quickly and try to make them play from behind and rushed. So to get off on that 12-2 run, or that puts them in a bad situation.
Geno, you were able to play 12 again, and I know the score has a lot to do with that. But how deep do you feel comfortable with now? Is it 8, 9? Are you to 10, 4? And having those people at least play well, you're able to limit, Paige is down a few minutes a game, and Aubrey, not Aubrey, but Easy, Ashlyn. So if you're looking long term, how do you feel about what's going on?
I don't know. I think it all comes with a double-edged sword. I want my guys that I'm counting on to get a lot of minutes. And everybody, has always said, oh, they need to be well rested for the tournament. No, they don't. The last couple of years, we're probably the best conditioned team in America, and our guys play 38 minutes every night. So you build great chemistry that way. You build a lot of cohesiveness in your offense that way. Now, is that ideal? No. But players have to get the players you're counting on, and whether it's 8 or whether it's more than 8, they need their minutes. And playing 12, 13, 14 minutes, if you're one of those players, is not going to be enough on a regular basis. So it's great that we have that many players, but I need to make sure that the right players are getting the right amount of minutes. And then whatever I can find for everybody else, that's great.
What determines that?
What's that?
How deep you go into your bench? What determines it?
It depends on the game. Today 3 of them picked up 2 fouls right away, so that puts a different spin on it. It's just there's certain combinations that you have to have out there. So if nobody's in foul trouble, it's easy to manipulate the combinations you want. You get a couple players in foul trouble. Today we got AZ with 2, Ash with 2, KK with 2, and you're looking around like, I want to get those guys more minutes, but they can't get those minutes if they're on the bench. So it changes every day, changes every game. Sometimes the other teams match up, the other team's roster, who they're playing, who they've got on the court. I gotta act like I'm coaching. I gotta act like I'm earning my money. Can't just sit there and watch us play.
What's the process look like now that Aubrey's got 2 games under her belt? Is it just all about how she's feeling after every game, and you go from there? Or are there certain steps?
Pretty much.
You're
Pretty much.
for?
Yeah, pretty much. So to follow up on that, that's another problem, right? Hey, you should play Aubrey more ahead of. So you have to kind of juggle this and, you know, increase her minutes, because I think she needs it because she hasn't played in so long. And too many minutes too soon is probably not good. But getting enough minutes so that you get a feel for it. So I don't know how many she played tonight. 8, almost 9, 8:45, 8:47. You know, so maybe a little more on Saturday. See how she reacts, see how she feels the next day, and just keep going.
Geno back here, I don't know if 2 in a row is a pattern, but the last 2 have looked really good. Are you where you thought you would be right now? Are you ahead? Are you behind on the development of the team?
I didn't quite know where we would be. I didn't really have a particular vision of where it would be. I was hopeful that someone would rise up and it wouldn't be the Paige Bueckers show. And I hope that it's more than one that rises up, and it's not the Paige Bueckers show. It can't be that to win a championship. So right from the very first game, Sarah did. So now right away you've got 2, and then the last game it was easy, you know, and today was more of a combination of things, you know. So as long as we have people contributing, I think we're where we need to be, because we're getting contributions from a lot of people. And I wasn't sure who that was going to be. I knew who I wanted it to be, but I wasn't sure who it was going to be. So little by little, we're starting to get that. But the last 2, you're right. The last 2, it looks like, you know, these guys have been together a long time, and they're not. They haven't been.
Just in case we don't get you the first Saturday, just you and Creighton are the only last standing unbeaten teams at this. No.
Go ahead.
The last unbeaten teams in the league. Just what are your thoughts on Creighton so far and how they did this season?
You know, I've been in Connecticut a long time, and they're catching up to me. Their starting lineup is catching up to me. It seems like they've been together a long, long time, the same group. I know they lost a big kid, you know, so it's a little bit different, but their core, you know, they had such an incredible run to the Final 8, right, a couple years ago. So they're experienced, they know each other. You know, we're playing in a big building, so it'll be real exciting for them, for us. They're an NCAA tournament team, obviously, and it'll be a great game. You know, it should be a great game. It'll be a great matchup. It's you know, I always preface things by saying you're not going to beat a team every year for the rest of your life. You know, at some point, you know, they're going to play great. You're not going to play as great. And if we're going to play the way we played the last 2 games, and they're going to play the way they've been playing, it should be a hell of a game. But I really have a lot of admiration for them and how they play and how connected they are to each other.
You know, you don't have any control over this, but they come into this game, 2 of the best players are playing at other programs. Seton Hall's lost players, Creighton's lost players. I know it's the nature of the beast, but is it frustrating for the league to have these players that could be, you know, breaking this league maybe up a notch or 2?
Yeah, it is. And I was talking to Denise about that before the game. And it's an impossible situation to be in. You know, you think of that Villanova team now, if they had the big kid that went to Maryland, Lucy, obviously, the little guard that, although their freshman guard's damn good. I mean, so, you know, between graduations, right, you lose it, you know, normal graduation, and people that you think you have coming back, and you're building a team, and, you know, you recruit, and you're trying to fill around that. And yeah, everybody thinks NIL, you know, is about recruiting. NIL is not about recruiting. NIL, for a lot of schools, is about, do you have enough money to pay the players you have to keep them from going somewhere else, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But that's the world that we live in. And And yeah, I think our league, I think the Big East is in a precarious position there, because it's happened to quite a few teams already, and I just hope that the schools can keep recruiting players like the ones Villanova had and a couple of the kids they have now, and that there's some kind of connection that keeps you at that school. But I think the coaches are really, really concerned about, schools at that level and what this portal and NIL, what effect it has on them. It's really hard. I mean, it's really, really, really hard. And you see it on the men's side too. I remember reading Anthony Latina, right, at Sacred Heart, right? You have a couple guys, player of the year, nobody recruited them, going out, you coach the hell out of them, boom, 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 boom. And then somebody comes in and the kids go off for a better situation. You can't blame the kids. You can't blame them. That's the option that they've been given. So, but if you're one of those schools, you almost have to, recruit like, hey, come play for me for 2 years, and then I'll make sure you're good enough to go make a lot of money. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Given how much you have dominated in the league so far, you kind of welcome a challenge from Creighton and hope you get a good game there.
Yeah, I go into every game. We sat at the coaches are sitting around. I looked at Jamel and I said, hey, this isn't going to be like the last game, right? I said, it can't be. But every game is we treat every game the same way. And so it doesn't matter. We're going to get ready for Creighton the same way we did against Villanova. We don't distinguish. This is a great team. This is a good team. That's a bad team. We don't do that. This team, Creighton, presents a lot of problems that Villanova doesn't. So yeah, it's going to be a much more difficult challenge, 100%. And first place is up for grabs, So that makes it, even more of a challenge for both them and for us. So, yeah, I want to see this. I want to see how we play. And I want to see, how we handle this. I'm anxious for it.